Great. Thank you very much, Sarah. And welcome, Sarah.
Hi, Al. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for the nice introduction.
You're welcome.
So briefly, I will just give you an overview of the Cambridge Elements Genetics and Epilepsy series. This is the website, by the way, if you'd like to go and check it out. This is the Elements is a Cambridge University Press publication series. They've never done one in a biomedical field before. And so they approached Ann Paduri a year and a half ago about maybe doing one in the genetics of epilepsy, and Ann agreed. She then picked up the phone and called three people who she knew wouldn't say no to her, myself, Aaron Heinzen, and Dan Lowenstein, and also brought on board Sarah James and Ann's managing editor, Shay Moore. And so this is the editorial team. Our job is basically to identify topics that would be ideal for this series. So what is the major difference about this publication? First of all, the content in each of these individual issues is presented both in print form and online. And it's mostly the online content that we're emphasizing because we can in that format, we can integrate text and images and importantly, video content. And I'll tell you more about that. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. Our plan is to focus most of the issues on single genes associated with epilepsy and really do a top to bottom analysis of the clinical features and basic science and treatment and other things that relate to that. We are planning to include teams of people to write these that include leaders in the field, scientific leaders, clinical leaders, as well as patient advocates and individuals in foundations like KCNQ2 Cure. And importantly, these issues can be dynamic, and because of the online format, we can update them and version them. So the first issue is out, but this is really just an introductory issue that we put out to explain the editor's task and our objectives for this. And really, this is sort of a look back as to where we've been in epilepsy genetics and where we're going, hence the title. But importantly, when our editorial team met last year and earlier this year about which genes should be targeted first, I really advocated strongly that KCNQ2 should be at the top of the list, and we agreed. And so for the last several months, we've been working on a project that my colleague Sarah will tell you more about.
Thank you, Al. And I think you nicely already showed like the importance or the relevance of this format, and that's also why I think you contacted me a year ago to ask me if I could co-edit this section or chapter on KCNQ2. That I was immediately excited. I think there's a lot of reviews that are written, but this is really exceptional in its format as it reaches out not only to clinicians, researchers, but also patients or parents, and most importantly, also voices over the story of parents. So the first thing that we did is to reach out to people to see who wanted to collaborate to us. And I think, if I remember right, that everybody that we contacted immediately said yes. And you see the contributors here. So we have Scotty, Caroline, and Sarah, and you all know on board from the patient or the parent side. We have Maurizio Tagliatella and Tasso Tsingunis from the basic functional side, let's say. And then there's Tammy Chuchida, Tristan Sands, and Roberta Cilio from the clinical side. So a great team to work together on the content. We define different chapters. There's first the patient, family, or foundation perspective, obviously written by Sarah, Scotty, and Caroline. There's a chapter on the clinical spectrum, genotype-phenotype relationships. So this goes back exactly to this discussion that we had about gain of function, loss of function. But the book chapter also talks about the B9 spectrum. This is written by Tristan and Tammy. Then we have the chapter of Maurizio and Tasso, who are talking on the functional and neurophysiological consequences. So really what happens at the channel level, at the neuronal level, and what do we know so far, and what do we do not know yet. And last but not least, there's a chapter on treatment. So a lot on the current treatment, what do we advise, and what can we expect from future treatments. And this currently is written by Roberta with some additions from LME. As I already told you, I think that the nice thing is that we can add video content. So in the meantime, we, with the help of the professional interview skills of Sarah James, some interviews have been conducted and turned into nice little videos with the editing skills of Al. We have a video of an interview with David Brown. He's a professor who actually discovered AMCURA many years ago. Then there's an interview with Nanda Singh, a great scientist who discovered KCNQ2 at the time in the 80s, 90s, as a gene involved in the B9 familial neonatal epilepsies. Then there's a nice video of Anne Burke, who you all know, who performed a national history study, and she talks about this. And then there's a very nice video where you really hear the voice of parents. Several parents agreed to be interviewed, so this is really great. What I didn't know is that Al, as I said, has my editing skills, so he prepared a little teaser of the parent video. It's not the same that will be in the chapter, but just to give you an idea how parents manage to really bring the message what KCNQ2 related epilepsies mean for them, for their child, and for their social life. So I think we'll see this now. Al?
From day one, the fear of knowing whether Eric will come out of the seizures. Are we going to hospital? What to do? To be trained up on how to give medicines?
After my son was born, I believe within 3 days, he started showing seizure activities.
So my daughter was born and started having seizures fairly early in life, 3 days into her birth, so in the neonatal period.
He was, 6 months old. He was so little. He had a seizure overnight, and so we brought him in hospital. And they were about to discharge us, and he went into another seizure that turned into status. So they had to, send him to the resuscitation room and resuscitate him a couple of times, which was, pretty horrendous, obviously.
For me personally, it was in the beginning just shock, and then total just immersed myself in everything, and I had to get through the day.
I think I kind of went through the different phases, like first just, surviving. And then I think second, right now I'm in the phase of like being a champion and being an advocate, for my son.
It's been life-changing, the good and the bad, and the ugly.
Family life, we've lost friends, we've gained some amazing friends, but we've lost friends that we grew up with thinking they were lifelong friends. As soon as this came along, no texts, no phone calls, disappeared.
So KCNQ2 impacted each one of my family members in a very specific, different way. It became my life. It's what I lived and breathed every day.
In my opinion, it's not something a one parent can do, or it's very difficult for a single person to deal with all of the day-to-day stuff when it comes to a child with KCNQ2.
Or I feel like we're sort of still at the beginning of the journey.
I was just being a mom trying to keep my kid alive. Like at the end, that was really what I was doing.
Literally, your world just flips. You're out there, you're celebrating the birth of your new child, the world is amazing, and then all of a sudden, I can't.
Before the diagnosis and after. It's a different universe. And those are two different worlds.
We've been lucky in that from a seizure perspective, she hasn't had any since the first month and a half of life. So it's been very well controlled since then.
So we've had issues with sleep, And those are hard when they happen, because for 6 months you're not sleeping, and it's then hard to do anything else.
He just started this year to smile, so we love when he gives us his little chuckles and his little smile.
If you sit him beside the main road with all the noise, he starts rocking and gets really happy and clapping hands. So there is communication there that we understand. So yes, it is good.
That we definitely have highs and lows, and one thing that that's really helping us get through is to have this village.
Is enormously important to have people understand how this affects us. They just, I think we're very busy being brave all in our own lives, and that's great, and we need to be, and we don't want pity parties, but we do have to let people know, so that we drive treatments and drug trials and places for our kids to live and work together to achieve all those kinds of things. Every single bit of it is important.
Don't be afraid. We're all here to help.
For me, having found the foundation has been life-saving, because we don't have any other friends who are living through the same thing. And although all of our kids are so different, we still have some of the same challenges, or at least you speak the same language.
He is a character. You can see in him, he has a little bit of Mark Madness. I can see he looks sideways at you, and he just wants to mess. He wants to say the two famous Irish words, and the second one is off. I can tell by him.
Please get to know our kids.
Our children are beautiful, and honestly, seriously, well beyond. They're just gorgeous kids.
He's such a happy boy, and he's so gorgeous. He's funny, he's gorgeous, he's loving. And so if we could, just take away the seizures and help him, grow and like I was saying, like unlock what's being blocked in his brain, so he can actually grow and develop and learn, because he's very curious. But I wouldn't change who he is.
Of course, we accept and love our kids for who they are, but it's not okay, and we want better, and we want to cure, and we want to make them better, and not for us, for them.